Hello, once again, wrestling fans. It's me. It's the ROBS. It's the real Bobby Munson coming at you. It is Thursday. It is November, and we are only days away from another big WWE weekend. Yes, I'm talking about WWE Survivor Series this Sunday, and also WWE's NXT War Games event on Saturday. I'm going to go ahead with my predictions for both shows here on today's episode of Rob's Rockin' Wrestling. But before I do, just a little bit in the world of news when it comes to pro wrestling. James Ellsworth released by WWE as of yesterday. I wish all the best to James Ellsworth in his future endeavors, just like WWE did. Sounds like the guy was quite a delight to work with and to be around backstage as well, too, as many within the WWE wished him well and said that they really enjoyed working with the guy. So definitely somebody that I'm sure will do well out on the indie scene as well. Maybe we'll see him back in WWE one day as well, too. So, thank you for what you did during your time at WWE, James. You also got to live out your dream, which a lot of people don't ever get to do. So, kudos to you for that. So. But yes, coming up this Saturday, NXT is bringing back War Games. And if you are a wrestling fan, you're familiar with the War Games event, that's fantastic. If you are not, this is a double ring, is surrounded by one gigantic cage. So the cage comes over two different rings. Yes, the rules used to be there used to be two teams, and as it would start with two guys in the ring, and every 2 or 3 minutes, sorry if I'm a little fuzzy on the details, another competitor from one of the teams would enter, and then again after a few more minutes, then a team from the opposing team would enter until all members of both teams were in the ring. Once all members of both teams were in the ring, then a team could win by pinfall or submission at that given time. Now, I know things are going to be a little bit different for the actual War Games event this Saturday for the NXT version due to the fact that this is altered a little bit. There's actually 3 teams involved. So, from my understanding, starting with 2 different teams or something like that, there's going to be teams that are going to be in a shark tanks or confined cages at the top of the rampway, and every few minutes they're going to release the remaining members of that particular team. So I think it's starting off with like one member from each team or one member from 2 different teams. I'm not 100% sure, but again, I could look it up here, but regardless of what it is, what it comes down to is every so often more people are going to be released. There cannot officially be a winner until all teams have been released into the actual match itself. These matches have tended to be quite brutal over the years too. If you go back and watch any of the older War Games events, especially in particular look at the old ones with Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair, they were beautiful shades of red by the time they were said and done. So it's going to be an interesting night. So now on to the predictions for the entire event itself. We've got a matchup locking up Cassius Ohno versus Lars Sullivan. This beast of a man, Lars Sullivan, has been a one-man wrecking crew on NXT since his arrival. This match, requested by Cassius Ohno himself, says he wants to be the guy that finally takes the fight to Lars Sullivan. If you watched NXT last night, you'll see that Cassius Ohno came out to prevent Lars Sullivan from continuing to beat down on Raul Mendoza. Lars Sullivan basically laughed at Cassius Ohno, laughed in his face, kind of mocking him, and walked away from him, didn't give him the time of day. So this Saturday should prove to be quite interesting. I think it's going to be a very hard-hitting affair. Now, I believe that this one is going to go to Lars Sullivan. I think that they, view this guy as a big-time main event heel. I think that is the way that they're building up to anyway. I mean, the guy is solid. He is a big man with a big, scary look. So, I mean, I can understand their reasoning for going this particular direction. I think what would be an interesting way to book this one, though, would be to allow these guys to go until Ono can't retaliate anymore. I allow them to keep beating on each other. Don't allow for a pinfall or submission. Have Cassius Ohno get KO'd or something like that in the end. You know, Lars can't quite put him out for a 3 count, but he beats him until Ohno is unable to, get back up under his own power. Referee calls the match due to the fact that Ohno is no longer able to defend himself. I think would make Ohno look a little stronger, but we'll see where it goes. Up next, we've got what has been one of the more interesting feuds leading into this whole thing, Aleister Black versus the Velveteen Dream. This has been hyped up really well, done very well, a very interesting feud going into this one. I'm going to have to go with Aleister Black. I believe they're really high on Aleister Black, which they should be. The guy's fantastic, great look, great entrance, great in-ring presence. The Velveteen Dream, again, like, he's been incredible. This feud, I think, is just doing nothing but helping this young upstart as well, too. So I think that this one is going to be a very interesting, good, solid match. Probably one of Aleister Black's more competitive matches so far since coming to NXT, which will be interesting to see for sure. So I'm hoping for a really solid match. I'm going to have to go out on a limb, say Aleister Black taking this one on Saturday night. Believe it or not, it's weird that you have to talk about the NXT Championship match third, because in reality, the 2 matches that follow it have a lot more going on for them, kind of thing. So the NXT Championship, for once, is not the focal point of an NXT event, which it usually is. This case, not so much. Not saying that it doesn't have the same kind of meaning or anything like that, but yes, champion Drew McIntyre going to be taking on Andrade Cien Almas for the title. And Almas has been fantastic since his arrival. I like Almas. I think he makes a fantastic heel. His pairing with Zelina Vega has been remarkable. I think she really just helps add to that dynamic. It makes it a little bit more believable when he's taking on a guy the size and caliber of Drew McIntyre. I don't foresee a title change happening this Saturday night. I believe Drew McIntyre is going to hold on to that title unless there is some crazy immediate plan for Drew McIntyre to be getting called up, which I really don't think there is. But then again, hey, I'm not on the inside. I don't know for sure. So we'll have to wait and see. I don't see Almost taking it. I see Drew going on to having a rivalry with, say, somebody that's within the main event of this particular event. But that will happen after the fact, probably leading more into January's Royal Rumble time. And so the NXT Women's Championship, vacated by Asuka as she went to the main roster, is going to be on the line in a fatal 4-way match. It will be Ember Moon taking on Kairi Sane, Nikki Cross, and Peyton Royce, who will obviously have Billie Kay in her corner. This one, very difficult to call in a sense. All 4 women have been fantastic. I'm going to catch some flack for this, to be honest with you. Of all 4 of them in there, the one I want to see win it the least right now is Kairi Sane. Not that I'm cutting her down for her ability. I'm not cutting her down for any particular reason. It's just that it would be so easy for them to put it around Kairi Sane. She won the Mae Young tournament, and then she comes in and, hey, here's this new popular Japanese star that we're trying to push, so let's put the title around her immediately. I think there needs to be more build to Kairi Sane at the moment. I think we need to be more invested in who she is as a character and stuff like that before we go start believing in her as, the NXT Women's Champion. As where, with Ember, with Nikki Cross, with Peyton Royce, they've had chances to develop, really allow us to get to know them. If I'm going to go with a prediction, I'm going to predict Ember Moon on this one. I believe Ember Moon is a great pick for this. It'll lead to some interesting feuds. Gives her a chance to run with the title, see what she can do there and everything. So I think they're going to go with Ember Moon. Again, they could shock us and go with Peyton or Nikki. Again, it's a really hard one to call. I wouldn't say picking any one of the 4 is really a bad choice in any sense of the word, because this one is very, very difficult to call. The main event, the big match that everybody's waiting for, the War Games match itself, returning to your televisions, War Games. 2 rings, double cage. It's going to be the team of the Authors of Pain teaming up with Roderick Strong to take on Sanity, who consists of Alexander Wolf, Eric Young, and Killian Dane. And they will also be taking on the Undisputed Era, consisting of Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, and Kyle O'Reilly. Now, in this particular case, you've got the Authors of Pain, Roderick Strong. Roderick Strong, fantastic worker. Authors of Pain have, worked leaps and bounds to get to where they are so far. Have done an amazing job coming up through the development system and, really working on making a name for themselves. So, great competitors there. I do not foresee this particular team being the ones to walk out the winners. Now, Sanity has been remarkable, but Sanity has also not been, the types to not eat a loss. Like they're not really protected in any sense of the word. They've intentionally got themselves DQ'd, counted out. It doesn't really matter. Sanity isn't so much about the wins and losses as they are about the chaos itself. As were the Undisputed Era just getting their feet wet in NXT, just starting to show their colors in NXT. So I think the team of Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly really need this more than anything. There could be a twist in the tail yet too. For all we know, Roderick Strong could turn on his group and join the Undisputed Era or something along those lines. I'm not sure. I'm not making that my actual prediction. But my actual prediction for the winner is going to be the Undisputed Era. I believe that Cole, Fish, and O'Reilly are going to walk out as the winners in this particular case. That will be it for NXT TakeOver War Games. Again, what are your guys' thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. And yes, so now shifting gears, we're heading over to Survivor Series coming up this Sunday. Survivor Series branded as Raw versus SmackDown. So this is brand versus brand for bragging rights, supremacy, whatever the hell you want to call it. So we're leading into this Survivor Series. This Survivor Series has become way more intriguing as the weeks have gone on. The build to it has been fantastic, and as a fan, I don't see how you could not be excited going into this Sunday's pay-per-view, Survivor Series. The only match on the card that really isn't a brand versus brand match would be the Cruiserweight Championship, of course, being contested between Enzo Amore defending the championship against Kalisto. As great as Kalisto is, as great addition to 205 Live is what Kalisto is, Enzo Amore is kind of the heel character that WWE really like. He's the microphone guy. He's out, he's able to cut promos that really get under people's skin and get people talking. And the more people are talking, the more mentions they're going to get in social media and everything like that. The more views they're going to get on their YouTube channel, the more exposure they have to the 205 brand, which is what Enzo Amore has brought to the table. So I think in this case, once again, you're going to have Enzo Amore come out on top. Chances are we're going to have a little interference from, say, Drew Gulak or something like that to assure Enzo walks out the champion. The next match, we have got SmackDown Live Tag Team Champions, the Usos, taking on the Raw Tag Team Champions, the Bar. This has been a surreal resurgence of the tag division in WWE in 2017 this year, folks. That a lot has been because of these two teams on separate brands, but the Usos, turning heel, really becoming the Uso penitentiary leaders. It's really taken off. Then you got the Bar, Sheamus and Cesaro, who at first, people didn't understand the pairing. It was put together by Mick Foley because the two of them were tearing each other apart before. It was kind of like, is this going to work, or is this going to just be another one of those that we shove two guys together or whatever? And just proof of why Cesaro is fantastic, because how many times has Cesaro been put into different tag teams and they become some of the best tag teams that we've seen? Cesaro is brilliant for tag team wrestling. He just works within the tag team confine, and in my opinion also has really helped Sheamus, because I wasn't as really invested in the Sheamus character prior to this teaming, and now after this teaming I really can get behind Sheamus in every way. I think he is fantastic in there. I think the two of them work well together. Glad to see that they're back as champions. It's going to be one hell of a slobber knocker of a match between the Usos and the Bar. As much as I like the Bar and everything, I think I'm going to have to go with the Usos on this one. I think that they're going to pull it off in the end and become the winners. Next, United States Champion Baron Corbin representing SmackDown Live to take on the Intercontinental Champion, The Miz. So, yes, as much as I like the work of Baron Corbin and everything, I think The Miz is just on one of those rolls right now that you don't want to kill the momentum of. He is a superstar of epic proportions at this point in 2017, a guy who has worked his ass off to get to where he is and is deserving of everything he has currently got. So I think that the momentum is going to continue with The Miz here. Miz is going to pull it off, whether it's with help from The Miztourage or not, I'm not sure, but I believe in the end, ultimately, Baron Corbin going to fall victim to The Miz at Survivor Series. Recently crowned SmackDown Live Women's Champion Charlotte Flair going to be taking on the Raw Women's Champion Alexa Bliss. It is going to be the Queen versus the Goddess, and it should be an interesting match. I like Charlotte's work a lot. Big fan of Charlotte. The missus and I both really probably top of our list when it comes to female workers in the industry. Alexa is amazing too, don't get me wrong. So this is going to be a really, really strong match. I believe Charlotte is going to take the win, but I also feel because there are no titles officially on the line at Survivor Series this Sunday, that this is going to be the moment where Carmella finally cashes in. So after a really hard-fought match between Alexa and Charlotte, Charlotte's down, then all of a sudden Carmella's going to come out. That's going to be where it happens. Carmella comes in, cashes in, becomes the new SmackDown Live Women's Champion. Next, we will have the New Day representing SmackDown Live to take on the Shield representing Raw. Now, this one is a dream match in the making. The Shield, a little while back, were the team to behold, the three-person team that came out of nowhere and became this popular iconic team within the WWE, and they have just had a storied history since then, all becoming world champions on their own, and multiple titles between the three of them. They have become this big name, and in that process of them becoming singles competitors, a new three-person team was created called the New Day, who have become a marketing machine in which to be marveled. I mean, they have sold so much merchandise and become this big worldwide success. I mean, one of the most talked about three-person teams. They also were the ones that WWE brought back the Freebird rule for these guys and stuff like that too. So it's quite intriguing to see that we're going to get this clash between the New Day and the Shield. As fun-loving and great performing as the New Day are, and as great as this match is going to be, with the potential of being one of the best matches of the entire night, Shield are going to be made strong. They're going to come out the winners of this particular match. Classic Survivor Series time. We've got the Women's Survivor Series Team SmackDown versus Team Raw. Now, I'm not going to go by eliminations, who's eliminating when and stuff like that, because these things can become quite the cluster and stuff. We don't even know who the fifth woman is on Team SmackDown now that Charlotte has been removed. One could assume it's going to be Natalya filling the spot, but there's a lot of rumors circulating around that it could be somebody else that might be from outside the company. It might be Paige returning. We don't know for sure what the WWE is thinking, so we'll have to wait until Sunday to see the reveal and find out, unless they decide to leak it a day or two before. We'll see what happens. I believe a lot of people are worried about Asuka's streak ending in this match. I don't think you need to worry about that so much. I think if Asuka is going to be eliminated from this match in particular, it is going to be that it's done by count out or by disqualification, is how I foresee it anyway. So I see Asuka maybe getting a little too riled up about something, or out comes Dana Brooke, who she annihilated on Monday or something, to cause a distraction, and next thing you know, Asuka's fighting her to the back and we don't see Asuka again. Count out, DQ, whatever it takes. That means that she's eliminated from the match, but she hasn't lost by pinfall or submission, therefore keeping her streak of singles competition and by pinfall or submission intact. So technically the streak stays intact without Asuka having to go and win the entire match. I feel that this match is going to end with Becky Lynch as a sole survivor for Team SmackDown. SmackDown getting the win for the women's side. Now, Classic Survivor Series match, Men's Survivor Series, SmackDown Live versus Team Raw. Should be a very, very, very big occasion. I mean, there's a lot of big names. I mean, older names. This is quite the interesting lineup of particular individuals in this match, especially with the addition of Triple H being added to the Raw team, John Cena being added to the SmackDown team. You got Kurt Angle, you got Shane McMahon, and the others. No, I'm just kidding. You've got it's going to be an interesting battle, but I think that this is the way it's going to go. We're going to come down to having Angle and Triple H left on Team Raw. I think on Team SmackDown, we're going to be down to Shane McMahon, making everybody believe that this is an impossibility for Shane to overcome. Then, what we're going to have is Triple H and Kurt Angle are going to get into it with each other. This is going to cause Shane to roll up Angle or whatever he has to do to get Angle eliminated, or Angle's, whatever it takes. It's going to end up in that sense of the word. Or, now that I rethink of it, maybe it'll be Triple H that gets surprised and pinned by Shane. Either way, it's going to come down to a one-on-one for another sole survivor win. It's going to be either Triple H or Kurt Angle taking the win over Shane McMahon in the end. But the reason that's going to happen is at some point in time, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are going to come out. They're going to hurt Shane McMahon to the point where he can't even get back up. And that is going to be used in order to build that continued story between Shane, Sami, and Kevin. And at the same time, start this whole obvious feud that we see coming between Triple H and Kurt Angle. So that's where I see it going. Team Raw is going to pick up the win. It's either going to be Triple H or Kurt Angle as the sole survivor for Team Raw. Main event time, we have AJ Styles is going to be taking on Brock Lesnar. So WWE Champion AJ Styles taking on Universal Champion, the Beast Incarnate, Brock Lesnar. And I think this one is going to be more competitive than what most people think. They're going to have AJ really take it to Brock Lesnar, using his speed, his quickness, everything like that to make AJ look strong. I mean, you don't really want your WWE champion to look weak against the Universal Champion, because what you're saying is that the current Universal Champion is so unbeatable that even the best on the other show can't even go toe-to-toe with him. I think this is going to be one of those occasions where at times we're going to think AJ even has it wrapped up. I mean, there's going to be a couple of close call kickouts, hitting Brock with some of the moves, the phenomenal forearm and things like that we just think are going to wrap up this match. But in the end, I think it's going to be an F5 and a bunch of suplex city counts are going to be the end of AJ Styles in this match. And I mean the end by meaning that he's going to lose the match. I don't think that it's going to be the end of his career or anything like that. I think it'll be a much more competitive match than what most people are expecting it to be, with Brock Lesnar ultimately coming out on top. So anyway, that's my predictions for Survivor Series as well. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Also, if you would, just do me a favor and click that subscribe button. Yes, it really helps me out to click that subscribe button. If you haven't clicked the subscribe button yet and you're just tuning in, and you don't want to click subscribe, hey, you know what? Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it either way, because I appreciate every single one of you. I appreciate everybody in the WWE universe. Make sure to follow along this Saturday and Sunday, and I will be having reviews of the shows coming up as soon as possible after they complete as well too. So be on the watch out for those. Those will be posted to the YouTube channel as soon as possible. Thanks once again for tuning in. Folks, wrestling fans, whatever you want to be called this week. Sorry about that, fumbling over my own words. Getting a little too excited for this weekend. Anyways, Saturday, WWE NXT War Games. Sunday, WWE Survivor Series. Get excited. Subscribe to the channel. And let's have some fun watching some wrestling.